All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here for our Community Leaderboards panel. We are one of many that are taking place today here as part of the Virtual Athletics League's VR Winter Games. And just a real quick introductions. We have Adam Kuta from Until You Fall, Deny Senesouma from BoomBox, Nogi from Swords of Gargantua, and Alex Flea Rodriguez from BoomBox as well. Guys, thank you so very much for joining me here. You can turn on your mics if you want.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you here. So real quick, just to kind of kick things off, we're here today to talk about kind of community and community leaderboards and how that's contributed to your individual games. BoomBox is significantly different from Until You Fall and Swords of Gargantua. I mean, if we're being honest, there's not a lot of crossover, and yet you all have just very, very passionate communities about this. If we could just kind of start off just going around, Adam, what do you think has led to the passion that your community has for Until You Fall? And we can just kind of go in counterclockwise here.
What has led to the passion for Until You Fall?
Yeah.
I mean, if you played the game, you know it's pretty good. But that's just me being biased. I think that we have a really strong community, primarily over on Discord, and really encouraging. There's kind of, if you're unfamiliar with Until You Fall, it's a hack and slash roguelite, and that in and of itself kind of lends itself to getting passionate about it. You have that feeling of like becoming a sword god, and then it's just keep going because there's a level of difficulty. It can be pretty challenging, and then you just get that rush and that energy that you just have to want to keep going. And I think that that's really a spark, I guess, that really sparks your interest in the game. And maybe that's just me personally, but that idea of like I want to keep getting stronger and keep getting better and keep doing what I can. And then you have the community behind you that is giving you advice or giving you encouragement and stuff. And I think that probably answers the question.
Yeah. Nogi, what about you?
Yes, we also have a community in Discord. And Swords of Gargantua is really focusing on the real sword of fighting combat mechanics. That's why core user is also there doing some sort of martial arts, also sort of fighting stuff in the real life. And they are discussing how they make a special skills, but not it's gaming special skill. They're physical special skills kind of stuff. And we also launch the new weapons every 2 weeks. That's why they say they discuss about sword and sword skills. That's our community is.
Alex?
Yeah, so for BoomBox, it's basically a rhythm drumming game where you hit in like flying drums that are coming towards you while you're running like through beautiful environments with your cat Poopa. And so the main attraction of our game is being able to really get your full body into the songs you're listening to while also going for high scores and competition at the same time. And we hope that people, when they play our game, are just going to go, one more song. And so we've got a pretty big community on Discord already, and it's been pretty great.
Yeah, the game has an emphasis on flow, and it's very similar to like Dance Dance Revolution, as in like the hitting mechanics, but in VR.
Yep.
All right. So I guess kind of the first question that we've got on our like official list here or whatever, what sort of unique items or cosmetics can players earn for reaching the highest skill levels in your games? Like, do you do things like Discord badges or other recognitions, special roles? I mean, what do you do to make players stand out and feel unique? Because that is a huge part of a game where you want to have a competitive scene.
Yeah, you want to build like a legacy for your players in your game. You want to reward them for all the time that they've put in. So for BoomBox, we're still pretty new. We have some plans for cosmetics down the line, involving things like the drumsticks that you hold as well as different skins for the cat Poopa that runs alongside you. But in our Discord, we give recognition to players through automated announcements every time a new world record is set. And we hope to recognize players in the future for tournaments with official badges displayed on our website as well.
Adam, Nogi, you guys got anything to?
We organize like a competition leaderboard challenge, periodically, and we give away like a special weapon top players, the one things, and we have like the user level system, and then we're now considering to put like a badge or change out naming color stuff and recognize those are super player. That's we're planning right now.
We do a lot on our Discord to recognize special players and their achievements. Like in the game, we do trophies and achievements for depending on the platform that you're on. But on Discord, we there's one challenge in particular that I call highlight, which is called the Monk of Rokar challenge. And basically, we have 2 weapons in the game that are using your fists instead of using bladed weapons or swords or giant axe or whatever it is. And so that changes the mechanic significantly. Instead of blocking, you have to then dodge. So it's much more physically active and very challenging. So if players can submit proof that they've completed a run using these these weapons, then they are rewarded with special Discord role for the Monk of Rokar. And we actually, just as a community, banded together and created even more layers on this to prove even higher skill levels. So if you can complete that challenge with your levels at level, or with your weapons at level 1, then you get a different Discord. And then if you can beat it on the highest difficulty with those weapons, then you get a different Discord role. And if you can beat it on the highest difficulty with the weapons on level 1, then you get an even bigger, more pronounced Discord role. And we've only had 2 people do that. So pretty impressive stuff. And it's definitely a challenge that the community really favors.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I'm familiar with the Monk of Rokar challenge because I'm pretty avid until you fall myself, but that's pretty sadistic, I have to say, to put someone on max difficulty with level 1.
Oh my gosh, we didn't have the role right at first. It was just complete Monk of Rokar. That's a challenge in of itself, and so many of our community were doing it that it's like okay, cool. And then there was kind of we do monthly challenges, and one of the monthly challenges that we were doing was beat a run with level 1 weapons, and people were like, let's do Monk of Rokar during this month. And it's like, you guys are insane, but let's reward that because you guys are really into it. And then there was someone's like, I can't do that on Nightmare. And they're like, well, I can. And it's like, oh my god, okay, well, that's what it just kept growing exponentially, the level of challenge that they were putting on themselves. And so we definitely felt that we wanted to reward them for that. So
yeah, and I appreciate you elaborating on that, because that actually rolls really smoothly into the next question I have here for everyone else is, what role have community leaderboards or community-oriented competitions played in building up your current community? So for Adam, you've been talking about how well it's done for you guys to kind of really get a community band together. What about the rest of you? Have you seen similar things come from your own communities?
So our users, especially core users, they actually established their own Discord server, and then discussing many things, not only about Swords of Gargantua, but also other VR games. Also, they're trying to planning an offline event, going somewhere together, something. It's great because they're having more very close relationships through our game. That's the kind of unique things that we see.
Alex, Denny?
What we've seen from other rhythm games as well is that leaderboards drive healthy competition. And not just competition, but there are also people that like to share maps and share techniques on how to improve their score. And the leaderboards offer a tangible solution to like, or not solution, tangible outcome like from playing, and you get to see yourself improve over time, which is really cool.
Yeah, and we have like already established top players, like who are like super well known as being like the best player for faster levels, the best player for the slower levels, kind of like all around players.
Accuracy,
and yeah, we call it like accuracy in our game, where it's basically the amount of points that you get per drum hit. And one big thing that we do with our leaderboards is not only are the users' game clients sending like the final result of their score to our servers, we're actually also sending over the information for every single hit on every drum that they're doing. That way in the future, because we're still in early access, we might change some things. We can actually recalculate all of their scores server side, so that nobody needs to lose anything, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'd imagine, you'd hate to see your early access scoring go away, especially, when you go into, the actual game itself, or when it's fully released, I mean. So, and again, Adam kind of touched on this with his explanation of, their own Monk of Rokar challenge, but what has surprised you guys most about your community's reactions to these sorts of contests and competitions? Like, what's the biggest thing that you're like, you didn't expect them to do when these things came out?
When we came out with the map, when we started out, right, we noticed that when people were mapping, they originally were inspired by like other games in their note style, but over time the mapping kind of evolved into its own style, and people are also like mapping specific patterns and trying to improve and share like different techniques like over time.
Yeah, it's like people will try to create levels not just for others, but also for themselves to train on and try to improve. And it's super cool because like we're still pretty new, and so not many people have gotten that much time to use our official level editor yet. But people are already making like super crazy stuff, which is super fun to see. Yeah.
Nogi, do you have any?
Yeah, co-op players are very intense. Like I told you, they share the skills on Discord, but this time Winter Games is actually first, competition, collaborating with outside company and broadcasting, the external network. That's why they got more excited. And we've heard that the top players actually put in the enemy spawn patterns on the Excel spreadsheet and analyze it, the timing, speed, and they try to get a higher score. And then this time the world champion guy at the Winter Games on the Swords of Gargantua, he actually got burned out and then he got hospitalized. He needed to go doctor and stay there like a couple of days. And then them just really into it. That's crazy, right?
So hold on. Let me get this straight. You said your top player for these Winter
Number
Games
one guy, yeah, champion. This time champion the Winter Games.
He ended up being hospitalized because of how much he played.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's dedication.
Yeah, they posted a picture in the hospital on the Twitter.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He's skilled and incredible and crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would be a surprise as to
Yeah. We've had people hit their heads with controllers, but that's another level.
Yeah, another level.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. Oh my gosh. But you mentioned about people like mapping this stuff out on like Excel spreadsheets, and that's one thing that I've seen across multitudes of games. And like, I'm going to throw this way back and date myself when I say this, but when I was first, before I quit World of Warcraft, back in like the early days, I remember there was this one guild called Elitist Jerks that they would do this kind of same thing. Like they would micro down the math and min-max everything and have complete Excel spreadsheets for every class and everything else, where it's like, every specific talent tree of like, this is how much damage you can output. And it's insane to see players get to this level of just, I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah.
And so, right on. And it's cool to see that level of dedication and that passion is still around, even here in VR, where it's still so niche. All right, so moving on though, have you guys seen your community itself create their own competitions, like independent of the studio? And if so, how have these gone over? Like Adam, you touched on this with Monk of Rokar, but has there been anything else specifically that you've seen happen?
I mean, to be honest, Monk of Rokar did actually start with, it was something that was created by someone in our community. So when we were in early access, one of our community members, Necrocist, was the one who like put it together. Like that was their idea, and I was like, oh my gosh. So we were like, okay, you're crazy, but then lo and behold, it's become this community favorite. As for like creating like community challenges, we recently had one where it was this crazy convoluted and complicated challenge where essentially the idea was that you would choose a weapon combination with two weapons, like one weapon in your right hand, one weapon in your left hand, and then another person in the community would have to mirror you, and you would get points based on how many people like finish your mirror. And so I was trying to encourage people to like swap their hand dominance and play with other weapon styles that they may not typically do. And there were a couple community members who kind of like self-imposed challenge to then complete every weapon combination within like a month. And like this is like insane. Like I have no idea how they did, and they did it. Like they did, and it was just crazy. But like the idea was like, okay, like you'll do like 5. Like people will like maybe you'll pick one person, you'll do a couple combos, but then they like matched with themselves and did every combination. It was crazy. We had one dedicated player who, even before this challenge came out, she had a goal to complete every combination on the hardest difficulty, and she was taking screenshots at the end of everything and like made this big collage at the end. So that seems to be the next like big challenge that they're creating. Is okay, can you do this with every weapon combination? So
I don't suppose it was chicken sink, was it? Because we just had a comment saying they did it in under 2 weeks, and so.
Yep, yeah, Chicken Sink was definitely one of the ones who finished them all, and then Maxima was the one who was doing it a little bit before that challenge. So crazy.
Right on. Nogi, what about you?
So like I said, they created their own Discord server and they discussed many stuff. Then another unique thing is one user established like their Swords of Gargantua Wikipedia page. We show the every sword and every single damage point, and then they just write down everything, all weapon, how many damage is. Also, we have an enchant system, the power up, and then how much increase the power, and they write down. That's a kind of unique stuff. And then other than that, they just discuss many stuff. New things is also since we started mod system. They discuss mod how to make the own stage, and the enemy, the spawn, patterns. Then they're discussing what is the difficult kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what we see.
Right on.
Yeah.
What about from the BoomBox team?
We've also had people modding the game and also like taking a look at how precisely like the scoring system works, and people joining Discord calls, hopping in out, sharing how to improve like techniques and also like what kind of grip they use. And it's really fascinating just seeing all like different kinds of play styles and just people like taking a look at the code and all that just to improve.
Yeah, people are hacking our game just to try and learn how it ticks a little bit better. But total respect to that. We just gotta give them what they want. We gotta tell them everything they want to hear so that they can improve themselves to be the best. But yeah, so this tournament that Val for the Winter Games, BoomBox is involved, and that's actually the first official tournament that our game has, because we actually just came out like 3 weeks ago, early access on Steam. So we haven't had much time for the community to take hold, but we've had a lot of talented players and level makers from other rhythm games come into our game, and they're super excited about the potential for BoomBox for competition, because one thing that other rhythm games struggle with is that users want to create their own levels and then compete on them. But the thing is, they can't really get official recognition from like the parent company of their game. And the main reason for that is because a lot of people try to create levels with their own music that we don't have the rights to. Yeah. So one big thing that BoomBox did is we've actually gotten 250 tracks from different music artists, and we've partnered with them and licensed their music specifically for the community to create their own levels. That way we can officially support them with any kind of tournaments that they choose to run using those songs.
Well, and I have to say that is one thing I've really appreciated about BoomBox is that, like we were talking about kind of before the stream started, my issue with rhythm games, as enjoyable as they can be, is just that oftentimes there's only a handful of songs that I can really stand to do this to. You guys have had such a massive selection that it really appeals to a lot more people, which is great. So, what are you guys seeing from your top of your top in terms of skilled players? I mean, Nogi mentioned, hospitalization in one case, but that seems to be by far the exception and not the norm. So, what are you seeing that like makes them different? What sets them apart on like the top 10 as opposed to like the top 50? And what makes a leaderboard chaser different from the other people in your community?
Okay, maybe start from me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, like I said, they're really, really intense. Then I'm actually also like one of the the top player, because I played a lot. And as I reached a level cap, one of the fastest in the world. And then, but I didn't understand why those top players made that kind of high score at first. I have no idea how they made those numbers. And after that, they started to publish their own video, and then I found out, oh my god! Then I just gave up to compete with them. It's impossible, because like I told you, the Swords of Gargantua is more like a realistic sword fighting mechanics game, and that those players have swing accuracy, super accurate. And speed, timing is very accurate so fast, and then without any mistakes, no damages, because everything related with the score, no damage, speed, timing, that's important. And there are so many waves, so many enemies comes. It's impossible to avoid any damage, but there are no damage, and they perfectly hit every single point of the enemies. Yeah, that's them. If you try, you understand why they are great. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, Adam, let's go with you next then.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say, we definitely have players who are very, very skilled at the game, but one of the big things that we try to do on the Discord is really mix up the challenges. So there's not necessarily, we don't have an active, top 10 players list. We try to change up the challenges every month so that people with different play styles get their moment to shine. We have different winners every month, and based on what the objective of the challenge actually is, we're really trying to encourage that experimentation, exploration of the different mechanics and the weapons and stuff. So it's hard to really say, that there's top so many players. However, with that said, we've got some stuff in mind to, look into that a little bit more in the traditional sense. And then also in our community at Discord, we have a community leaderboard. So that's something that's been pretty actually fun to watch. Just them kind of competing over being the most active on the server, and watching the people like the more you comment, the higher your leaderboard points go. And watching that leaderboard change is actually something that the community is really into. So,
right on.
Nice. Yeah, with BoomBox, the number one thing is like, especially when it comes to rhythm games, the amount of time that you dedicate yourself to practicing, it's like highly correlates with your skill in the game. And so we see our top players just spending like hours and hours and hours like figuring out, okay, so when you swing into this pattern, what's the best way to do this to get the right amount of points? And with the scoring system in our game, it's realistically possible to get a max amount of points for every single drum that you hit, but it's extremely challenging. So the skill ceiling for any single level is almost practically like infinite. So it's super sick to see. And like some of our top players have made like YouTube guides on like their thoughts, their different techniques, and you can see like everyone has their own style of like moving their drumstick around. Like some people go for straightforward hits, but some people actually cross over like a wiping motion, and it's super cool to see that people are kind of discovering their own like way to express themselves while playing the game and being a top player at the same time. It's so cool.
Yeah, one of the first things that people did when they first tried out our game was map like the hardest thing they can think of. And at first, you have this controller, right? People would try using like the grips they're used to, like this kind of grip.
Mm-hmm.
But people found out that just using the default grip like this was the most comfortable for game.
Really? Imagine that. Something is more comfortable designed when it's used the way it was designed to be used.
That's
Go
right.
figure.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, real quick, just a message here for chat. If you guys have questions, feel free to chime in and ask, because we're here just as much for you as we are to discuss this stuff. So, all right. Now, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this for all you guys, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Are people using your game for fitness? Could your game be a workout?
Yeah, 100%. I think people come for the music and like the full body experience of dance or challenging themselves through their physical techniques. But the fitness is like a really magical byproduct. Like you don't even realize you're working out, but you're just like constantly like sweating and just it's just incredible. And there's studies that show that spending time in VR actually lets you kind of surpass your natural limits in a way when it comes to reacting to like fatigue and stuff like that, as well as listening to music. So with BoomBox, it's super awesome because we just see these people just pushing themselves to their absolute limit. But to them, they don't see it as like they're working out. They see it as it's like a byproduct of like their passion for the game almost.
It's really rewarding. It's like it's kind of like achievements in a way, because you're improving against your past self and you're also getting fit.
Yeah.
So I do have to kind of interrupt before we jump to the next, before we jump to Adam and Ohnogi here. Someone is saying using your feet is the best grip choice. Have any of you run into that?
I'm going to have to give that a try. Actually, that'd be a really fun tournament format if we just got a whole bunch of people to try and play the game with their feet.
That would be interesting. All right. Adam and Ohnogi, what about you guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Our game is obvious. We need to fight physically. Then every time also we got so sweaty. Yeah. Definitely it's good for the fitness.
All right, and Adam.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It can be. We don't have any like calorie trackers or anything in our game, but there's a lot of players that we have on our Discord who are using it, like maybe not specifically for, but definitely using it as a supplement to fitness-related goals and working out and such. There's a lot of platforms that we, we see people use like Ear and like heart monitors and stuff and posting their results. We have a Discord channel specifically for it in the server where they can talk about that kind of thing, which is really cool to see some of the charts on there. Yeah, we were rated by the Virtual Reality Health Institute being at the same level as an elliptical workout, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, no, definitely can be used for fitness.
Oh, well, yeah, and I know that personally because before the game started here, like I was doing really, really well with like 2 hours of VR workout a day between like Beat Saber and Synth Riders Until You Fall, Swords of Gargantua, stuff like that. As soon as the game started, wall, I don't have time anymore. But I probably lost, I'd say, about 5 pounds in that whole process. And I give a lot of that to Until You Fall just because the sheer amount of physical activity requires. Okay, so if your game has multiplayer, how does that affect your community?
So I'll chime in first. I guess we don't have multiplayer in our game. It is a single player experience, but the community kind of fills in that gap. We often, like I've said before, we have monthly challenges, and a lot of those implement the other members of your community. So we have quarterly challenges that are faction challenges. So the community kind of divides themselves and they pick a team. Kind of think of like a Pokemon Go or like a Harry Potter like kind of division. You pick a house, and then the houses compete on different challenges and earning points, and then we award the factions that win. And so that is not only bonding within the other members of their faction, but also kind of sparking that like competitive, like friendly rivalry. So that's a really fun thing that we do to implement a multiplayer feel to the community. And then another thing that we've done in the past was have like a whole community thing. So around Thanksgiving, we had the Eternally Grateful Challenge, where basically the whole idea was to complete runs gathering as much ether, which is like the in-game currency, to gathering as much of that as you can. And they would pool I pooled the totals together, and as the total rose, the like level of actual prizes that the people who entered could win would go up. So it went from like, you can get a poster to now you get a t-shirt to now you can get our soundtrack on a vinyl. Like, it was really cool stuff that they could actually win, and all based on working together, which is a whole other challenge in and of itself, because getting more ether means sacrificing and not picking the stuff that makes you stronger. So crazy tactics in there, but helps instill that sense of multiplayer, I guess, by working together as a community.
So just out of curiosity, do you have like an intense rivalry, like because you mentioned Pokemon Go? Do you have something like Team Mystic, Team Valor level rivalry going on there? Coach, so by the way, Mystic all the way. Just gonna put that out there.
I'm Instinct.
Oh, so you're the one.
Yeah. No, so we just introduced a 4th faction. We originally had 3, which were the Void Keepers, the Soul Tenders, and the Rune Guard. And we just introduced in January the Unbroken. And so all 4 of them kind of each value different traits and different weapon styles is like their primary thing. So they highlight different weapon combinations. And yeah, so we definitely see a lot of friendly competition during those challenge months. The Soul Tenders have been victorious for both of the big main like faction challenges. So when the Unbroken came into the scene, there was a little bit of that rivalry as like, can the underdogs come up? And it's been fun.
Nogi?
So the Swords of Gargantua is 4-player co-play multiplayer game. And if you just click the quick play, and you can just match other users who are online, and you can chat in voice, talk with on the voice chat, and they exchange their skills stuff. But basically, yeah, as I told you, people still discuss on Discord, and then we have a private room. And they share their private room ID, and they play together. That's actually regular, their behavior to get together.
Right on. So it sounds like people are really just kind of organizing this on their own, for like the multiplayer co-op, which is really cool.
Yeah, probably with original friends or people who just on the online they become friends. Whatever. Yeah, they discuss. Yeah.
Right on. Alex, Denny?
Yeah. So with BoomBox, we don't have like any multiplayer in the game right now. It is planned for the future. We can't announce anything officially right now, but it kind of feels like people are already finding ways to play with each other. Like you see players streaming to each other either on Twitch or through Discord, and just like watching their friends play live, trying to beat each other's scores, or like helping each other train up, giving each other tips like in real time. And it's really cool to see that kind of like real-time collaboration between players when they're playing our game. And so that's been really great.
Yeah. There's also like a bit of rivalry in a way, like with the scoring, like trying to get the best accuracy. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah.
People, yeah.
Well, right on. So kind of just to tease the audience here, do you guys have anything in the works that you want to kind of drop hints about, or say you can neither confirm nor deny?
There's a lot that I can neither confirm nor deny. But no, we haven't really announced anything as of right now, but we do have a lot of exciting things for the community coming up soon. So definitely, join the Discord if you haven't. And follow us on social media. Okay, plugs.
Nice. Yeah, with BoomBox, we're planning a global ranking system. So right now we only have leaderboards for like every individual level. But as time goes on, we think it would be like really awesome if we could start categorizing different levels by their difficulty, which we're planning to do through machine learning. We've already been doing a lot of research, and the CEO actually has a PhD in mathematics through machine learning. So we're hoping to put that to good use, and it's going to be super sweet. Just watching players try to rise up through the global rankings, it's going to be super awesome.
Yeah.
We've also seen people sharing scores on custom maps. We would also like to support that by adding leaderboards for unranked maps as well. But that's way later down the line, and I can't guarantee when that is planned.
Yep. Also, later today, we're going to be... people might have noticed that in our level editor, there are only so many specific points where you can place different drums right now. We're going to be adding a whole bunch of extra points for drums and obstacles. So people will be able to make like even crazier levels. And like really soon, we're going to be adding support so that people can upload their levels directly through the level editor online to our servers, so that other people can download it straight from in-game, so that people can really start sharing levels with each other more effectively.
Nogi, anything you want to tease?
Yes, we keep updating game at least like twice or months, and then at least we do the contents update, big update once every quarter, and especially adding features, weapons, the new game mode, and we keep listening what users are saying, and then try to make it better for users. That's our basic style. And like I said, our game is more little bit physical driven game, and the interesting things is the non-VR gaming especially esports game, is using just mouse and keyboard or controller. Maybe the physical ability is using just the finger, the power, but VR itself is your body itself is a controller, and then you need to physical movement. But as far as we see, our top player, they are not an athlete. Of course, we need like a quick reflection ability, because it's sword fighting, and maybe speed. But you don't need to build up your body. You don't need a power. That's why I think everyone can be an opportunity, chance to be champion in the world in the virtual space. That's a new movement, for the gaming industry. That's why we are so excited to do this business.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, I'm just going to throw this out to chat. If you guys have questions for the developers here, please feel free to ask. There is no stupid question. Go ahead and do so. So real quick, I actually kind of want to draw a contrast here because we're at two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum here. Because Until You Fall has been out for a good little while at this point. Same with Swords of Gargantua. And yet on the opposite end, we've got BoomBox, which basically went into early access during these winter games.
Yeah.
So, like, for Nogi and Adam, what's been the biggest thing that you've been able to do to keep a community momentum going? Because obviously you want to keep a community strong, keep them going, keep them interested for a game to survive. What's the thing that you found has worked best for you guys in order to maintain that? And then we're going to have a different question for Alex and Denny.
I think, honestly, a lot of the community momentum is just from the community itself. Like, once you get the dedicated players, like, they're the ones who are now driving a lot of that force. They're educating new players. They are training and helping and encouraging and that kind of stuff. So seeing them kind of take the reins is definitely something that I think is building momentum, because you see somebody do something crazy like complete Month of Rokar, level 1 weapons on Nightmare, and then you're like, okay, if it's possible, how do I get that good? And I think that drives a lot of momentum. But then, like I said, we do monthly challenges, we do with actual prizes and giveaways, and then just our devs are really active on the Discord server, and that's also a really huge thing. The community loves interacting and knowing behind the scenes stuff and seeing behind that curtain. So we actually have had weekly chats where we show concept art and talk about the development process, and that's been really cool too. That they're engaging with that style as well. So that would be my big highlights, I guess.
Yeah. And Nogi, what about you?
So the communication standpoint with users, we try to be more interactive with them, because we should just listen to what they are talking about. And content standpoint, people want to see always want to see the new things, and that's why we try to keep updating games frequently. Especially our games, people are really into the sword and new weapons. Oh, new big sword, new katana, kind of stuff. They want it. And then new skills. That's why interaction, also the frequent update. That's a key for us to keep make users excited.
All right, and so for Alex and Denny, like I said, you guys basically went into early access during these winter games, and you've had a very strong community thus far. What have you found to be able to build a community before you even really kind of became accessible to a larger kind of an audience, if that makes sense? Like, what worked for you guys to have that kind of momentum coming into early access?
I think the first thing is the editor, right? The community creates their own content, and that itself feeds into the gameplay. We've seen community people, like I mentioned earlier, sharing scores from their own custom maps, and also techniques, and also mapping specific styles, experimenting with the gameplay. And it's really cool just to see the game evolve on its own. There's there's like a meta with the mapping and all that.
Yeah, there's no way for us to know like everything that's possible in our game, but people are just constantly pushing the limits and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, and it's just really beautiful to see. But yeah, we're just like super involved in our Discord. We talk to the community like all the time. We're super open about what we're working on, and we try to like implement like so much of the community's feedback just like constantly, like on a daily basis. It's a huge part of our meetings. We want to make sure that the game is the most enjoyable it can be for as many people, and it's super awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got one question here from chat, and this is probably going to be the last one we've got time for. Of course, it's right when I'm about to ask it, that chat starts going crazy, and I have to scroll up. Okay, so this comes from Wolf Racing, and he's saying, okay, real question. How do you satisfy the needs of both dedicated score chasers and casual players without leaving one of the two feeling left out? And that's a real challenge you can see in basically any game. So it's how do you guys manage that?
Part of the rhythm game philosophy is that the reward is like improving against your past self, right? For the more dedicated players, like the competitive players, we thought about like having the community be able to host their own tournaments, and actually the company Cyberspline offering like incentives for people to start doing that. Like for example, badges on their profile or achievements. We don't want to force competition to the more casual player, but we also want to incentivize that sort of community engagement, and I think that's mainly through like competition. So it's kind of like a balance.
Yeah, because we understand that there are a lot of people who play our game who just want to dance and don't really care as much about trying to go for the most optimal score, most optimal like techniques. Like they just want to like be natural and free while they play the game. And so we're exploring like different ways so that we can kind of allow them to express themselves in the game without having to worry about their score constantly. Yep.
All right, Nogi, Adam?
Yeah, so we have like user like a rank system. Like roughly say it's like a 5 ranks. Of course, the highest is a very experienced user, and then lowest is a beginner user. And we provide a leaderboard system each ranks. That's why even casual user can compete within the casual users. That's a solution we are doing right now.
Oh, it's a really good one. And Adam.
Yeah, so this is definitely something that I was really adamant about, especially like when I first started planning community challenges. You don't want to isolate, and I feel like you also don't want to like really cause a clear division of them either. So finding that balance is really, it is challenging. But I think that part of what I do to try to negate that and to like appeal to both sides is having those monthly challenges, having challenges that focus on skill. And like we had one challenge where like the difficulty is set, like you have to do this on relentless or above, or like this weapon combination is pretty tricky, and you like there you go. So it's much more skill based. But then I also try to include like more creative challenges as well. We had 1 month that was the Rokari Safari, and it was like all about doing silly, crazy, like taking screenshots of silly events. Where you had to like come up with a recipe that would be in the world of Until You Fall, and so like that applying to more casual, like not. I mean, I don't like to say casual gamers, but to the not skilled, like focused players. Versus then you have like in this, the next month it's something that is all like, here, use this weapon combination, get to the end, win, and you have to do it, with only taking Aether or something. Like definitely like that balance between them. But another thing that I've done in the past is having tiered competitions. So there is the, like, you can enter this way, but if you really want to step up your game, then you can enter this way. And so, like beat it with the starting weapons. Cool. Now beat it with the starting weapons on Nightmare. And so it's applying, like, it's the same challenge regardless of where your skill falls, but blending them together, like allowing you to pick where you want to fall in that, if that makes sense.
I can see where you're coming from. So right on. Well, we are out of time. I want to thank all of you guys for being here today. This has been a great panel discussion. I feel like a lot of people in chat have appreciated what you've been able to bring. So thank you all for being here. Thank you everyone in chat who contributed. I know you had a lot of people here from the BoomBox community, so and a lot of requests for dog pictures and whatnot. But so everyone who's sticking around, please be sure to watch. We've got the music and VR panel coming up right after this. We've got another panel coming up later tonight. But Adam, Nogi, Alex, Denny, thank you all so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you
very
so much.
Yes.
All right, you guys have a great day, and stay tuned for more content from the Virtual Athletics League.
Peace.